Crusaders Church in Society Hill. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you some of the people who were buried in this cemetery. It is, I don't know, let's say third and Pine. Now, I just got into history, like Philadelphia history, about a year ago. So I like it's kind of exciting. And like this cemetery is like, these are all names when I do like history tours. These are all names that I have said multiple times, and I had no clue these people were buried in this cemetery. And this is one name. This guy pretty much, the second bank of the United States is now a portrait gallery, and a lot of the portraits were painted by this guy, Charles Wilson Peel. He was captain in the Revolutionary War. He founded the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. He painted a portrait of George Washington that I'm going to pop up now, and he painted portraits of many founding fathers. He also he had a museum on the second floor of Independence Hall, kind of like the Natural Academy of Science, like with stuffed animals, and there was a Madagascar, some type of Madagascar, is that a word? He had some skeletons in there. This grave here is for Eliza Pickney. When her funeral was held in that church, George Washington was one of her pallbearers. This is the grave of Colonel John Nixon, who was also sheriff of Philadelphia. On July 8th, 1776, John Nixon was the first person to read the Declaration of Independence publicly on the steps of Independence Hall. This is the front of Independence Hall. So when he read the Declaration of Independence, everybody went crazy. They all went inside Independence Hall. They took the crest of the monarchy. They threw it. They set it on fire. Crazy fire and looting going on. Oh, that's today. But there was fire and bell ringing all on the 8th of July. John Nixon read the Declaration of Independence right there. It makes me proud. Like, hearing that, it makes me think, like, it's like the beginning of Philadelphia sports fans. Like, we win, we want independence, so what do? We go in and we destroy stuff. This is the grave of Benjamin Chew. He was born in 1722. He was a Quaker, big-time Philadelphia lawyer, represented the descendants of William Penn. This was his vacation home, Cliveden. It's on Germantown Ave. The Battle of Germantown happened in his house. I couldn't imagine what his homeowner's policy was the next year. He died at the ripe old age of 87 years and 10 days. That's a very precise headstone. Benjamin Chew's buried here. And then we're going to walk. Right here is his grandson's grave. We're going to go up the spear, right? He donated the bells that are in there. This is the grave of Nicholas Biddle. Nicholas was the president of the Second Bank of the United States. He also helped edit the journals of Lewis and Clark. He and President Andrew Jackson had this big war. It was called the Bank Wars. Biddle wanted there to be a federal bank, a national bank. Jackson wanted the banks to be state-run. President Jackson eventually won the bank war, pulling the charter of the Second Bank of the United States. This is the Second Bank of the United States. The Biddle, and this is where the bank is. And Charles Wilson Peel, all his portraits are in this building. So the cemetery I went to, it's 2 blocks from here, and it's where all these guys work. Look at that. there's a guy buried here. I almost don't want to make a video about this guy. This guy's responsible. Yeah, I don't even know. You know what? Let me just show you who this guy is. This is the grave of the Vice President of the United States. He was also mayor of Philadelphia. This is the grave of George Mifflin. Look at this guy's last name. Dallas. The city of Dallas is named after this guy. So look, I ain't doing no research. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to post some cowboy memes. Look, there's Tony Romo. And this, after review, the Cowboys still suck. This is a picture of the guy. This is the guy Dallas is named after. I think he looks like Christopher Lloyd, who just came back from 30-15. And guess what? He's got some news. The Cowboys still suck. The architect of the Second Bank of the United States made this headstone. And it's not an old cemetery in Philadelphia without a mass burial ground. Yellow fever victims buried everywhere you look. The brick wall behind me surrounds the entire cemetery. That was put in 1784. In 1777, the British occupied Philadelphia, and the cemetery had a wooden fence. They took that wood and they used it for firewood. I don't know if this is Flemish Bond. Is this Flemish Bond? Uh-oh. Oh, I don't know. Could be. Flemish Bond! You can find the church at 3rd and Pine, in between 3rd and 4th Street, right on Pine. But for a history nerd like me, this was awesome. And I'm also glad that I found history later in life, that I could appreciate this now. Like, you ever see The Usual Suspects and you see the ending, you're like, oh my God! Well, every block in Philadelphia is like, oh my God to me, because I took my city for granted. And then, you know, thank God for this YouTube channel. Spark my interest. And once you spark an interest, once you give me a spark, I'm going to start a fire. Not here, but on the internet.